Welcome to For the Record. I'm your host, Shane Tutmarc, and today I have Brianne O'Neill from Black Moon Mother with us, and we're going to be talking about Fiona Apple's Win the Pawn. Before we get into that, though, check out the links below the video to find out more about Brianne's music, and hit the subscribe button and let us know in the comments what you think. So, Brianne, Fiona Apple's Win the Pawn.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite records, too, so I'm so glad you chose this one. And I've known you for quite a while, but we've never talked about this record, so I'm excited to learn some things.
Yeah, Fifi.
So take us back to the beginning. How did this record find you? Where were you at? How old were you?
Oh, I was that awesome age of 13 years old. And
that's a pivotal
teenage
age.
Angst. Yeah, I had a friend who introduced it to me. Her name's Valerie. We were like BFF in 8th grade. And yeah, she showed me the album and she had the CD and we would listen to it on our little boombox, I guess. What are those things even called?
And did you already know like Criminal and like her first album and stuff?
Oh yeah, watching the super sexy video on
But then it was TV. A few years in between, so
I
remember thinking almost like, was that just like a one-hit wonder thing, and then she came back with...
Yeah, this was the album I like would listen to like over and over again, all the way through, know every word to every song.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean...
And were you playing music yet at this point?
I had just picked up a guitar. I was like taking lessons and, you know, in that phase where I was like, how does anyone do this? It's so
hard.
And
what were you listening to before you got into this record?
Oh, let's see. I was into like the Deftones.
Okay.
And Incubus.
So you were like a super rock chick.
Yeah.
And then this record, like I was curious if because she was a female, like that had a bigger influence.
It seemed like in the world I was in, I was kind of in that like hardcore punk rock, like DIY, going to like the YWCA for shows and mosh pits and all that stuff.
So you were fully already a big music fan. You were starting to play guitar.
Yeah.
And then this record, what did it do to kind of change your view on?
Well, it was like a female that was kind of respected in that world. Like she was like...
Because she was a musician too, not just a pop singer.
Right,
something.
Yeah, and she was like different enough and just kind of had that like dark badassness to her that it seemed like, it was just kind of amazing to me that like the guys listening to like, you know, I don't even know, like the hardcore bands at the time were like, oh yeah, she's good, you know.
Okay, like, because she kind of was able to cross over into that fan base too. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I actually didn't really realize, like, I don't know when that interview of her, I think she, like, won some award, and she, like, put her arms up, and she had, like, hairy armpits, she wasn't wearing a bra, and was, like, just, like, I didn't realize she was so progressive in, like, her own right of, like, being a natural woman until I saw that. I can't remember if that was like...
Well, I mean, I remember her freaking out at some award show or something, and she was always like controversial about how she responded to sort of her fame. And,
I thought that caught my eye too. Like on top of her music, I was just like, she seems like she's not like going the cookie cutter, like letting the label and everyone like mold her. She was kind of...
And that period of time to like the late 90s, you know, after Tupac had died and Kurt Cobain had died, it kind of felt like the industry had really sort of taken the reins again, and it was like all the boy bands and Britney Spears and all the manufactured stuff. And so for her to kind of be able to cut through that must have had an impact.
Like showed me a whole different light, because it was like that was the time of Britney and Christina and you know, I just did not relate to that at all. I thought it was like so cheesy. And
so were you writing songs at this point, or just starting to play guitar, or like did this inspire you to start writing? Or
it did inspire. I was kind of writing. I think it inspired me to get a little darker and like to have a little bit more, not just be all like positive, lovey-dovey. I think I was writing like, you know, very like sweet kind of love songs.
So you were listening to Deftones but writing sweet love songs.
Yeah, I was like, well, I think like playing guitar was just like whatever was coming out, and it was more of just like a crush or something positive. And then I mean, but I did have like, I had all these crushes that weren't responding back to me, and that Fiona like is in this album particularly is like all about how she's yearning for someone's affection and she's not getting it and she needs to hit the road and all that stuff. And it kind of opened me up to be like, oh yeah, we don't have to just be writing songs about the positive side of love, like to showcase the nastiness of love that, I mean, you feel so intensely. And it really helped me like get through, you know, I mean, just the dumb drama of being a teenager, like liking one guy and then your best friend goes for it first and then they're together and you're hanging out together and like all that causes.
But then you're back at home writing songs about it.
Then I'm back at home being like, oh, you should have gone for it first. You're an idiot.
So had you started a band at this point, or did that come later?
That came later. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get a band together. I had like an 4-piece all-girl band that I was just playing guitar in, but I would write some of the lyrics for, and that was in like 11th grade or 10th grade. So this was me just like trying to figure out the guitar and my voice and what I was.
And so now that you have put out music of your own with Black Moon Mother and various projects throughout the years, do you look at this record differently? Like when you go back to it now that you've had studio experiences and written songs for years, like do you admire it more, or do you sort of see maybe like little tricks that you understand?
I like her voicing, like the raspiness, but also the like just the prettiness, how she can like kind of go into this like darker, more.
She like a growl sometimes.
Yeah, she gets like into that like I don't know just like it's like a
the throaty kind of singing.
Throaty kind of like sad sound, but then she can do these like vocal runs that are like just as, you know, as impressive as Christina Aguilera or whoever, but in her own way. But yeah, so now like going back and listening to the album, it's funny because in Black Moon Mother, I write very vaguely. Like I like to write like a lot about like space and time and nature and the
more
moon,
impressionistic
the stars.
stuff,
yeah, like
less narrative.
It's not like this guy did this to me and like this is how it made me feel. It's interesting going back and listening, and it's just like I mean it was so perfect for a 13-year-old girl to like relate to all of those like angsty anger /
or a 19-year-old boy.
So like I guess my writing has really come a long way, because I used to write like that, very personal, and actually realized over the years I kind of like would show songs I wrote to people that I wrote about them, and it would be so awkward, and I just kind of decided like a few years ago, I was like, I'm just gonna like get a little like bigger picture, a little bit more of a, not necessarily the like folk song storytelling, this happened to me, more of like a take on the world from a more poetic standpoint.
Right. And so you listen to her stuff now and you realize, okay, that had a big impact on your early writing, but now, you know, you write in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
But how do you, like, how is that experience different now? Does it just take you back to being in 8th grade, or do you kind of hear it now with adult ears?
It does. Well, and actually listening to it, I'm kind of inspired to try to write a song that's like a little more personal and a little bit more of like a story, an emotional journey, sort of just like talking about people. I don't really talk about it, just like I wonder sometimes if like my songs are relatable for the person going through something hard. Like the music itself might sound relatable if you know, I definitely am trying to portray certain emotions through the music, but like the lyrics to me have almost become like a mechanism to use my voice as an instrument. Not as much lyrical driven as my previous writing was. But yeah, I mean, maybe I should give a Fiona inspired song a whirl. Yeah.
Is there anything you can pinpoint on the Black Moon Mother EP that you have out now that maybe might have been a little Fiona moment?
Yeah, so there's one song called Nothing But Sea, and that's the oldest song. That song I wrote probably 4 years ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I liked the lyric, that does tell a story. It's not about me, it's like a character I made up, but it is about a woman who is living in like a port town that her lover goes out to sea, and she never knows when he's coming back. So that actually is totally the like yearning, angsty vibe that Fiona has in this album. But it's not about me, you know, it's like this character I created in my head. So.
Is there a particular song you could point out that maybe helped influence that? Or?
Yeah, the Love Ridden.
Okay.
Yeah, like Love Ridden, I've looked at you with the focus I gave to my birthday candles. Like that line to me is like, yeah, you're thinking about how someone looks at their birthday candles. It's like such an intense, like, just focus.
The hopes and dreams and all that stuff.
And that's sort of like, you know, the character in the song Nothing But Sea, like looking out at sea is that same intensity of looking, you know, you're looking for a light of the ship coming in.
Cool. So, well, listen for that, folks, when you check out the Black Moon Mother EP. Did this album lead you to dig into any older artists that might have influenced her, or did it sort of affect how you listened to new music when it came out? Or,
you know, I guess moving, like, after listening to it, again, I said I was in that, you know, when you're a teenager, you're just like trying to be cool and whatever. I was like really pigeonholing myself into that like hardcore, I mean, Dillinger's Escape Plan, like just like stuff.
Okay.
I liked it. Like I do like the.
So she was so different than
it like was like okay, and then like Regina Spektor.
Okay, like, right, yeah.
I mean, I was like really starting to get into that like lead female vocal who wasn't the pop singer.
Right.
So it kind of like allowed me to be like, well, I guess since Fiona Apple was kind of accepted by that group that I was holding so high.
Yeah.
But then I kind of took my own like turn diving into the female, which I'm glad I did, because it's like I have a love for the dark, heavier stuff, but like
I mean, I can probably hear both of those still in your music, you know. That's kind of cool knowing that now.
Yeah.
Sort of your roots do come through.
Right. Yeah, appreciating the prettiness and the beauty of the female voice with the.
But you guys have some really heavy stuff too.
We do, yeah. I know, it's like bringing them together. And like for me, it's all about contrast. It's like if they're like, my ear just perks up anytime something just sounds like two things you wouldn't naturally hear together, but together it sounds it's just like a beautiful mixture of the dark and the light.
So do you see this record as one of those that you'll continue going back to throughout your journey with music? And
yeah, I mean, the like jazz influence, that's something I'm like really interested in exploring and bringing into my music, and more of the like drum solos and like just percussion, all different types of percussion, and leaving space for the songs to kind of go into this other, you know, just more stripped down, and then like all coming back together. Like the dynamics that Fiona uses is just like, it's so entertaining just to listen to one song that goes from like a drum solo to a piano solo to like full band, like
that Fast As You Can song.
Oh, I mean, oh my gosh,
it's like Bohemian Rhapsody or something. You know, it's so cool.
I remember just like replaying like verse by verse, like until I would get it perfectly, like all what do you call that?
You were singing along with it. And
and just like exactly how she's pronouncing things. And like where I was obsessed with getting
the rhythm of her vocals was so important. To that record.
Yeah, and the song, the Nothing But Sea song, has so many lyrics in it that I really had to be conscious of, like where everything's falling, to make sure I can get it all in time and have it sound audible, and like be like not just like rapping or whatever, like having some sort of melody to it. Right.
Well, that's so cool to discover this insight into your music. And is there anything else we need to add about this record or your journey with it?
Also, I just think she's a babe. She's got to be like one of my style like influences as well. I just love her natural look, and she just seems like
she's always done her own thing.
Yeah, she just seems like she doesn't care what the beauty norms are, but that to me is like even more beautiful. So thanks, Fiona.
I love it. Well, thank you, Brianne.
Thanks, Shane.